Okay, so third day of working on the F100. Third evening. I mean, we're not working full days. I think I'm at probably 7 or 8 hours invested so far without pulling the motor because the motor's already out. So it's a little slow. I think it took me, I don't know, I suppose maybe 3 hours to cut brackets off. Maybe not quite that bad, 2.5 hours. But anyways, I got all the brackets cut off, frames starting to get cleaned up. I'm actually gonna go get the Crown Vic stub. On the driver's side, I took out the whole gusset for the steering gear box. I've seen some people either fold these up or cut them off. It's bent down a little bit right here. I did mark center on the old, before I pulled the old suspension out, I marked center right here. Hard to see, just a little line. Hopefully that is close. So if you're gonna do this, what I would recommend is use a Sawzall. So I don't have a plasma cutter or anything like that. I used a Sawzall and a grinder and an air hammer, air chisel. So take a Sawzall, cut your main cross member out first. That'll give you more room. And then you got the rivets to deal with. I ground all the rivets off with the angle grinder. It's messy. There's lots of sparks. It's kind of slow, but it's what I did. So there's 3 rivets in the face of the coil buckets, plus 2 on the bottom, I think. And then I also cut the connector between the cross member and the coil bucket so I could get that cross member out. And then try to get as much of that rivet material off as possible, and then I use the air hammer to pop the buckets off. You want to be careful you don't bend your frame rails. You don't really want to bang on it or beat it too much because, I mean, it's fairly easy to tweak them, I would imagine. But yeah, once you get the coil buckets off, then what I did is I come into the front side, so there's these pieces sticking out left over from the cross member. So I cut a notch on top and the bottom, and then I was able to pound it left and right, pop that off, pop that off. I actually cut the inside of this, and then there's a piece that dropped out. Then I just had a little bit to grind clean. That was pretty much it on that side. On this side, a little more challenging because of this reinforcement plate that's in here, but I cut the top and the bottom off of that, got that out of there, and then used the air hammer to pop off the rest of those pieces. Yeah, like I said, it's painstaking. I think 2.5 or 3 hours with basic tools. The Sawzall definitely works better than the angle grinder in terms of cutting metal, so anything you can get with the Sawzall, do that. Garage is a bit of a mess, pretty hazy, but she'll air out here in a little bit. I think I'm gonna get the Crown Vic stub and jack it up just to see if we're making progress. So here's the subframe sitting in the truck for the first time. I haven't done the measuring or drilled out alignment pins, so I'm gonna do right now. Right now I've just got it sitting in the front of the 2 rivet holes on the driver's side, which means it's a little pushed over to the passenger side. You can see that it doesn't quite get through the hole there, but. So now I'm gonna measure and then drill new holes for the alignment pins based off the Dentside Depot's measurements, which a couple other people have used with good luck. I know you can use this front hole. It'll push your center line forwards a little bit, but I think I'm gonna try to drill new holes and get it a little closer to center, and hopefully that all works out. Okay, so I got it marked out. Driver's side of the truck. I'm standing in the engine bay here, so I'll zoom in here a little bit. So the 2 holes that mount your bump stop, front hole, I went 3/8 of an inch back, and I'm 1.125" right from the edge of the frame rail. If you go to the inside, I'm about 3/4 from the inside coming back this way. The frame kind of has this radius here, so it's hard to get that 1.125", but it's about 3/4. And then same thing on the other side, and then pull your 31.5 center to center to get your alignment pins. So punch this, I'm gonna drill this out, and then Use the step bit to get up to, I think, 3/4, and that should get the alignment pins for the Crown Vic stub into place. So after I got it all marked out, I changed my mind. I did it on the bottom side now. It's the same measurements, but I marked, probably can't see, but I put a punch mark in there so it's ready to get drilled. I just thought it'd be a little easier to do it from the bottom side. So I'll get these drilled out and hopefully be good to go.
Two hours later.
Nice.
Shut the hood.
Why does this one look? That's why you buy new drill bits.
Why?
What?
I said why?
Because they drill. So looking at my pilot hole right here, we're just a little bit inside of the outside edge of these holes, if you look down at it. So the whole thing needs to go towards the passenger side, like 1/4 inch. And then you can also see that the passenger side is about 1/8 inch further forwards than the driver's side. So I don't really know how I'm gonna correct that, but this is one of those things where, you know, measure lots, cut a few times. But that's where we're at, so I don't know. I guess I will get out a die grinder and try to open up those holes so I can shift it all to the passenger side and then measure a bunch more stuff. And then hopefully I can get it put together. Fun, fun. So this is where I left off last night. Front stub's pretty much where I want it to be. I ended up just hogging out the alignment pin holes a little bit so I could shift it a little bit to the passenger side and a little bit back. Look at this side, just came over a little bit. So taking a bunch of different measurements, it's really close. Next thing I gotta do is notch the frame for the box kit and get the holes drilled. So the Crown Vic has oversized holes kind of like this on the bottom, but the box kit, you know, has a more precise hole. So I need to use the box as my template, and I just gotta sort out how to do that so it's gonna be in the right spot. Okay, so I used a square and just carried the line, this line up. It's sitting right here. Let's see if I can get this to. So that's this first line right here. And then when I measured it, it is 3/8 back from this hole. So that should be my alignment pin line. Now the second line that's about 1/8 inch further back, that is actually based on, if you, it's hard to see it, but there's a mark there where I marked the frame before I pulled the stock suspension out. So that was my center of wheel on the factory, the setup, the twin I-beam setup. So it's about 1/8 inch further back. So theoretically, I moved the center of wheel 1/8 inch forward by using the 3/8 inch reference I found in a couple other places. So mine would have actually been about 1/2 inch further back from that hole, assuming that, you know, I marked it in the right spot and everything else. So but yeah, I think I'm going to use that 3/8 line. Well, I have to now because I already have my alignment pin drilled, but I'm gonna use that to get this box laid out and then notch the frame so I can get the box dropped in. So the passenger side is pretty close. My frame's different than most of the ones I've seen pictures of, but most of the pictures are of bump side trucks too. So see, I got pretty good gap. It'll get a little bit tighter, but it's pretty much against the frame already, so it's not going to tighten up too much. And if you look at the frame, you can see where the frame, you know, bows in right there. So I'll probably end up putting a little filler piece in when this gets welded in, but it's pretty much all notched inside there. This back one was right through this hole. It's on the alignment pin, and then the top is pretty much right on. So I'll take that as a win. Now I gotta do this side still, obviously. Cut as much out as you can with the Sawzall. So I went, you know, just a little past the top of the frame rail to get rid of the whole radius. And just clean it up with a grinder. So this is what I did to mark out the other side, which worked. I marked center on this hole. Then I drew a line where the alignment pin should be. Line those up. And I got my front and my rear cut lines. So, and if we look again, about, you know, a light eighth off of my mark from my original center of axle from the I-beam setup, but on this side I'm actually like 5/8 back from that front hole. So I don't know if the hole's in a different spot or, you know, maybe my marking is a little off, but anyways, there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. Go ahead and get this cut out. So when you're cutting your notch, if you can get it mostly cut with the Sawzall, like this is just my Sawzall cut here. Got a little bit there to clean up. It's gonna make your life way easier. Sawzall makes less of a mess, less sparks, and it's way faster. So that's my advice. Also, I'm not a metalwork person. I don't do a lot of metalwork, so it's kind of a learning process for me as well. So I got the driver's side pretty much all mocked up. Still have to drill the holes in the bottom frame rail, but this side went way faster, just, you know, having a little more confidence and know what you're doing. And then, like I said, use the Sawzall as much as you can and then just clean it up with the grinder. It's not perfect, but pretty close. And then this one, you know, is a little more out, but part of that I think is the frame rail and it's not tight. So, I mean, there's some play there. Yeah, I should probably clean up the garage and organize stuff, but I don't know. I might pull the box off because it sounds like more fun. Okay, so I've been out here for a couple hours just getting the box kit touched up and triple checking all my measurements before I committed to drilling my bottom holes. And then I realized that my control arm brackets have shims, so I'm in good shape. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but I think it's plenty close to get the alignment all to work out. So I'm gonna pull it apart now, and we're actually got a buddy coming over to weld this all up. But this is what it looks like. You can see pretty nice here. A little bit of space there. The 70s frames are, you know, this is 77, so these frames are a little different than most of what you see on the internet, which is the, you know, 68 to 72 body style. So this is real nice and tight there. Pretty tight all the way across the back. But the frame does have, see there's a little space here. So I might fill that in with some plate probably before we, before we burn that in. And the reason is, if you look at the frame actually bows in a little bit. So that's what's creating that little cavity. But it is all bolted in. So it took some time, leveled the truck out a lot better than it was anyway, so we don't got any twists in the frame. Got this all cleaned up. Right now we're getting the boxes welded up. Then we'll be ready to probably put a quick coat of paint on that and then weld in the boxes. Damn brake cylinder.
That's a pain in the ass. I don't know. I'd rather build them and sell them.
The Crown Vic stuff is all welded in, so the Backyard Customs boxes are all welded in.